Any health-related information on the following show provides general information only. Content presented on any show by any host or guest should not be substituted for a doctor's advice. Always consult your physician before beginning any new diet, exercise, or treatment program.
Welcome to Accelerated Health Radio and TV. I'm your host, Sara Banta. I'm a health coach, natural supplement expert, and a busy mom of 3 teenagers. Today, I'm so excited. My guest will be talking about relationships and how to increase your frequency in relationship and get what you want. And I know that you really need that strong physical foundation to work on your mental and spiritual growth. And whether it's overcoming anxiety and depression, losing weight, or detoxing your body in the proper way, and even increasing your level of frequency in life, you need that strong physical foundation in order to gain the willpower to make the bigger changes in your life. If you're new to following me, I specialize in helping you get there. You can find my health articles, my cutting edge natural supplements, devices, and protocols at acceleratedhealthproducts.com. I dive into an array of health conditions, their causes and symptoms, and how to address them naturally. And if you have your own personal issues, you can email me or leave a comment below. I'm happy to help you out personally today. As I mentioned, we're going to be diving into on how to optimize your relationships when you are increasing your frequency. But first, I wanted to talk about my monthly free group coaching that comes with the Ascent Diet Cleanse at Accelerated Health Products. It's the most comprehensive cleanse, and the groups that go through it report easy fat loss for those stubborn pounds, increased physical energy, increased mental focus, increased spiritual health. And that's why we're going to be talking about relationships and spiritual health today. Better bowel movements, a decreased appetite, and the ability to intermittent fast and even fast for longer periods of time. Better sleep, and an improved cellular permeability, meaning the health of the cells and the cell's ability to let go of the toxins and absorb the nutrients you are taking in. At the end of the month, you flush out gallstones and liver stones into the toilet. I actually did one last night, my liver flush, and I feel great. My energy's up and I'm so excited. I just feel like a new person, and I'd love to experience that with you. The difference between me and any other group coaching is I provide the most cutting edge frequency enhanced supplements that work synergistically with each other, and the body doesn't experience those flu-like symptoms. You truly feel great day one. Leave a comment below if you're interested, or check it out on the website, acceleratedhealthproducts.com. Now to the good stuff. For the fourth time, Dr. John Gray's back, the author of the most well-known and trusted relationship book of all times, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. And USA Today listed his book as one of the top 10 most influential books. He has written over 20 books, and his most recent book, I highly recommend. I've read it multiple times, Beyond Mars and Venus. Welcome, John. How are you today?
I'm doing great. It's nice to see you again. Happy to be on your show.
Awesome. Well, I know we all know, about relationships. We all know we've gotten into sexual health. We've gotten into men getting on their female side, women getting on their male side. But today I want to talk about the issue when my clients will go through my cleanse. For instance, they improve their diet, they improve their nutrition, they start cleaning things up, intermittent fasting. They find that the brain fog lifts, and there's this whole new connection to their spirituality. Their pineal gland opens up, and they start realizing that the toxic friends need to go out of their lives. But it also can change a relationship in the house, in a marriage, men and women. What do you do as your frequency is increasing and maybe your partner's not? How do you balance that and come back to equilibrium.
Oh, be so grateful if your partner's frequency is lower than yours. It helps you get in touch with the part of you that's lower than them. The higher you go, the lower you have to go. You know, we see so clearly in the body, you do good things for your body, you'll detoxify, right? Now, if your detoxification is starting to occur and then you start eating junk food, what happens? It goes back down. Just keep eating junk food and you won't detoxify. You'll just gather toxins and toxins and toxins. Well, it's the same thing happens in relationships. We push our issues down, then basically what happens, our logical brain has to justify why we're unhappy, and now we blame our unhappiness on our partner. And in this case, we say, oh, they're low frequency, I'm not. You can't be in love with somebody who's low frequency and you're higher frequency. If you're higher frequency, you raise it up. People have to start taking responsibility for the relationships. I know that sounds so harsh what I just said, but let me give you a fun story. Okay, I know you get it but here, one of the other teachers of she was one of the big beginnings of that movie called The Secret. I'm also in that movie. And I have to qualify, that's a piece of the truth, that movie. The reason my section in that is the shortest section is because I said, now this is all true, but it's just the first step. You have to have a positive step. You have to know where you're going and have a positive intention in order to get there. But you have to take action. You gotta purify your body. You gotta clean your thoughts. You gotta take responsibility and let it go. Anytime you're feeling judgmental of your partner, you're angry with them, you're hurt by them, you're afraid of them. That's your vulnerability, and you have to own that as your stuff. Because what happens is the higher you go, somebody will trigger you and you'll go lower. Now, triggering is a very, very important concept. I call it a simple way of 90% of whatever's upsetting you and bothering you is you. It's never the outer world. It's how you're reacting to the outer world. And the more you try to change the outer world to change how you feel, the worse you're going to feel, and the more the outer world will become a bigger and bigger problem. We have to take responsibility. You can't take responsibility unless you have guidance on how to do it. Why do I tell you need guidance on how to do it? Because you wouldn't have these problems if you already knew how to do it. You really need help. And we talk about cleansing the body. I'm talking about cleansing, clearing all these reactive tendencies of negativity within us. And when it comes up, we always justify our negativity by what's happening in the outer world. The outer world is just triggering. It does. You hit me, I will bruise. But I'm not going to ever heal that bruise if I keep thinking you have to change before my bruise will go away. No, because my brain goes that you don't have to change. I just need to avoid being around you. My body will heal. Okay, so yes, somebody can bruise you. People do affect us, but our reaction is the only thing we can do to heal our reaction is for us to take responsibility for what do we need to do to heal the reaction. And if you learn, this is enlightenment, to learn, I can change how I react without having to change the outer world. It's the same thing. If your body, if you have toxicity, the outer world is toxic. If you keep trying to change the outer world so you can be healthy, not going to happen. First, you have to be healthy. To be healthy, you have to detoxify your negativity. Then if you want to be an activist and go out and say GMOs are bad for you, that's fine. Or at least how about making changes in your diet? And I love talking with you as well, Sara, because I know you get so much out of my talks and everybody does, but I always get a little kernel of amazing truth from you. And something I already got today from your intro is willpower. Okay. When you're at a higher frequency, your willpower is greater. Now, it's very important. I never really thought about it so much. It's like, I always talk about how do I create my willpower, and I have tremendous willpower. And it's because I have a commitment to integrity. If I say I'm going to do something, I do it. And the reason I have that strength is because I know that all happiness in my life comes by staying grounded in my masculinity. We've talked about male and female. But if a man doesn't have integrity, he's weak. And I want to be powerful. I want to make a difference in the world. I want charisma. I want to attract support. That's my female side. I'm very good at that. The female side of us is the happy part of us, the fulfilled part of us, the enjoy your life part of you. That's easy for me. I can enjoy anything. You see, that's an easy thing. It's working hard that's always been my challenge. I remember, for those of us that are in another generation, Dobie Gillis, I think, what was the name of that show? But he'd always go, work. I don't want to work. I didn't want to work. I just want to have fun. Okay. So then I had to learn that if I want to be happy in life, I have to choose to go over and do the work. And that takes willpower to do. So easy to eat a gallon of ice cream, isn't it? It takes willpower to have something and put it away. That's willpower. And willpower is something you strengthen. And what you're doing is what I used to do as well, which is for people that want to cleanse their body, do fasting, body purification, whatever. I used to do weekly calls with my groups, and I fast with them. You know, they had an example, somebody with willpower who's doing this, and because I had a group, my willpower increased. See, I'm telling them I'm going to do this. Well, I got to do it, and I happen to know that if I don't do it, it will weaken everybody. The weakening thing to follow somebody who's not really living what they're saying. I learned this as a father, because in my household growing up, my household growing up, we didn't even have sugar in the house. That was a big thing for us. My parents were very enlightened even back then. But then when I'm growing up, my children are growing up, we would have very few minimal desserts. Only on special occasions we had the sweets and all that. And so there weren't any cookies in the house. So one day I really want to eat cookies. So I went out and I was at the store. I saw a big cookie. I ate that big cookie. I really loved it. You know, at Whole Foods, you can get these big cookies. Big cookies. I ate the whole big cookie. I went home and my little 6-year-old daughter goes, Daddy, I want cookies. Why can't I have cookies? And threw a big tantrum that she doesn't have cookies in her life. But what happened? She had no big problem with it before, is because I wasn't following through on the rule. See, my willpower weakened and suddenly their weakness came out. We have to realize we've all been affected by the weakness of our parents, and now we infect our children with that and so forth. We infect ourselves with that. And so what I found is that my groups would be so happy with following me because I was doing the fast and we're doing it together. They had a leader and they had a group who were all following the leader. And the leader was an integrous person, someone who actually lives what they teach. You see, the problem today is everybody believes the government, which is not integrous. Everybody knows government people lie. Okay, you can't dispute that because they say this is government secrets. Okay, so they justify everything. So they're liars. It's all manipulation. And finally, people are waking up to that. All you have to do is watch the two different stations and CNN and MSNBC and CBS, and then watch Fox. And you hear everybody's got a different story here, extreme one side. So you're getting the partial truth. Whenever you get the partial truth, you're not getting the whole truth. Healing can't happen. So when they're following you, someone who's actually saying, we're going to do this and I do this, that's besides your supplements have great frequencies in them, you are the great frequency and they're resonating with you. See, that's a frequency of we can do this, I can do this, you can do this. I'll give you another example of this. And first of all, it made it easier for me to have stronger willpower because I said I'm going to do it.
Right.
That's the big thing is you say you're going to do it, then and you tell a bunch of people, I'm going to do this, then you have to do it. And then you have to have a conscience inside that knows, and if I lie, I weaken everybody. So that's what keeps me on board. That's why my books are so successful. I mean, literally still, even in America, hundreds of thousands of books every year. These books are 25 years old. They're still selling like that. That would be bestseller status if it was done in a 2-week period or a 3-week period. It'd be number one. It's just mine scattered out every day of the year. Huge number of sales and 10 times that sales in China. You see, it's a bigger country, but it's like they don't have this crazy idea that equality means sameness. They haven't been infected by that toxin. See, our society is infected by that toxin, and we have to get rid of that toxin. So that's my talks on relationships. But a quick, the insight I got from you so clearly is that, yes, we need to recognize what you do for people strengthens their willpower. And then when they follow through, the outcome of that is a stronger willpower. But once your power increases, what happens? It's again, whenever you do something good for yourself, anything that keeps you from continuing to do that will come up, and that's called the toxins coming out. And that's what happens. There are questions about relationships. What happens in relationships? You're higher frequency, your partner's lower frequency. Well, if you're a higher frequency, what happens is that then your low frequency stuff will come up. And then you blame your partners. Oh, you're low frequency. You bring me down. No, you thank them. Oh, they brought me down. That gives me stuff to look at. Now I'm going to pace my pace for a moment and share something. 3 years ago, my wife of 34 years, Bonnie, she died of cancer. And it's been the most devastating experience in my life. And I have had many, and I've got books talking about how I make it through all these devastating experiences. On my honeymoon, I find out my father is dead in the trunk of his car. What happened, and the horrible things. My younger brother on a vacation in Hawaii with my family, my children, everything. I find out, call my younger brother is committed suicide, shot his head, shot himself with a gun. Shocks and huge traumas. The list goes on and on. It's not like I have all these good things always happening, but I do have all these good things always happening. It's like good things are always happening to me, that's for sure. But bad things are happening around me. How do you process those things so you can continue to come back? And it's a big process of grieving and feeling the pain and feeling the loss and having to restore and rebuild back. And that people look at me as this, so lucky author or whatever. Oh, only 10 years of rejection by every publisher and two self-published books before I became famous. It's never been and never is for anybody an easy road. Life is always dealt with the suffering and the struggles, and then the glory of being able to work through that and having to find that balance. Well, it's the same thing with cleansing your body. It pushes your buttons. There's challenges you have to overcome, but the outcome is transformation. So your question about high frequency, I'll just come back to high frequency. Your high frequency, so beautiful, is to recognize that your partner is going to trigger things inside of you, your judgments and your criticisms. And that's an opportunity for you to dig deeper into what your reaction to that is. And as you go through that reaction, you'll feel greater love and understanding of yourself. And that will give you greater insight and understanding of what your partner is going through in their life and appreciation for them. See, love is to appreciate. How many times do I hear women say to me, I'm the loving person in the relationship. My partner, he ignores me. He just watches TV, he does this and this and this. And I go, yeah, I get it. You feel rejected. You feel like you're not getting what you want. He's not as uplifting as you. He can be negative at times, and you're rising above and being so high frequency. Well, what does that trigger inside of you? Look at what you really feel. And I help them to get in touch with, do you appreciate your partner? Well, not really, because they're so negative. You like this high frequency person now, you have no appreciation. So anyway, coming back to this one example I was going to give, and I forgot to give it, is because I can't remember her name, but she's one of the main people who started that whole popularization of The Secret. She channels Abraham. Do you know who I'm talking about? Abraham Hicks, something. Okay, something Hicks is her name, and she channels this, and he's all about the power of attraction. And then they made the movie based on that. Then those people left because they also said, I don't want to be in this video because they're not telling the whole truth. You see, they want to just stick on magical thinking. Anyway, a lot of big story, but she's processing somebody on the stage. And it's this, was it a woman or a guy? I think it was a guy on stage. And he says, yes, everything you're doing, I'm practicing everything. I'm so positive. I'm so high frequency, everything, but everything's perfect in my life except my wife, And she says, oh, really? He said, why is it that I've attracted that in my life? And, because I'm so loving and so high. And I say, well, as you're complaining about your wife, you don't sound that loving, do you? The logical mind will find reasons to justify our lack of lovingness. It finds the reason to justify it. So that becomes, we have a new reason to not love someone. What have we done today? Look at the massive expansion of this craziness and an insanity of segregation of vaccinated, unvaccinated people. Now we have justification to just have vengeance on people. I watch them on the news and they're saying they should be punished. They should not be allowed to do anything. They're infecting all of us. You know, who's infecting? I thought you were vaccinated. How can you be infected? And then they're spreading it. And then, of course, now we know that they're spreading it. And there's so many examples now of people who are vaccinated, people who are all getting it sick. It's so much confusion, so much deception, so much lies, so much manipulation that goes on. And we all have it inside of us. And all we have to just keep looking at what triggers us and take responsibility for it. That's called the 90-10 principle. Very simple to understand. Freud explained this. Nobody just applies it in daily life. We all know that if 10 bad things happen to you that day, you're going to come home and be a little bit more frustrated and irritable and impatient with your partner, right? Does that make sense?
Yep.
And then later on, you relax and you realize, it wasn't a big deal. And you're happy the next day. Everybody has that experience. I make something upsetting and then I realize it wasn't such a big deal. That means you were able to feel happier and happy without the outer world changing. You just need a little time to back off the whole thing. All right. So what just happened here is you have a lot of stress during the day. It builds up inside because you're not processing it all along the day. See, instead of letting that go, you go into kind of an adrenaline state where you can't process emotions. That's basically what we're talking about here is just PTSD of every day. PTSD, to understand it, is a really important concept. And it's the same idea of detoxification. PTSD is a soldier is in battle. It's a horrible thing. Okay, to kill other people is against human nature. To see people being killed evokes the response to kill back, which is not who we are as divine human beings. It's who we are as animals. Okay. You attack me, I attack you back. There's no judgment in that. It's just survival. So when people are in survival mode, what happens is no longer in the light is no coming through them. The love is not coming through them. You're not like feeling loving towards your enemy when you're bombing them and you're destroying them and you're these destructive bombs and guns. And then your own person, your own body is going through this huge stressful experience and legs are going off and this is horrible. So your brain can't deal with that. You've got to protect yourself. You've got to move on. You've got to move on. You don't have time to go, oh my God, I feel like terrified. This is horrible. What am I doing? Why are we doing this? You can't question the soul. You can't go in. So all those strong emotions that would be there and explorations get repressed so you can continue protecting yourself. Then suddenly you come back. This is soldiers. Now I worked with soldiers. They come back into the world and now they're in safety. And what happens is they have flashbacks. Now their brain says, now I want to process what just happened. It never goes away until you process it. You have to understand it, find forgiveness, make new changes, commit yourself to making changes within yourself, self-love, all these lessons we have to learn with trauma. Well, they can't do that while they're in battle. So as soon as they feel safe, then it automatically starts to come up. Same thing with fasting. As soon as you stop putting pollutants in, guess what your body will do? It starts getting rid of all the toxins. It will come up. And it's basically, you can't get it out of you till you find enough love and support. That's why love is healing. That's why relationships are so important, to seek out and find someone who has a natural level of compatibility and love. And if it was there and it goes away, it's your fault. If you're the one to complain, it's not there. It's something inside of me. Doesn't mean the other person is not doing the wrong things or whatever, but how you're reacting to it. Are you reacting with understanding and empathy? Are you acting with appreciation and trust? They're doing their best, accepting them for the good and the bad. Every relationship has its trade-offs, but we say, yes, but I give so much more than they do for me. No, I just answered a woman's question. It was what talk I was just giving, where she's basically same kind of thing, high frequency, low frequency. She's just saying that she's really into her personal growth and he's not. So I'm listening to it. And she says, and I do the hard work and he's not. I said, that's your problem. You're doing the hard work. You're a woman. You need to enjoy your life more. And then the next line in the question is, I do admire that he has sort of an easy flowing attitude towards life and he's happy and he's free, but he's not working hard. I said, you need to look and realize what you're judging in him is what you're judging in yourself. That's your problem. You need to have a more happy, free flowing life. You see, relationships are a mirror. They can show us ourselves if we take responsibility. Otherwise, we judge our partners. Relationships are a mirror in another way, is they'll trigger us to get in touch with the feelings that we're ignoring. And on a surface level, in most life and superficial relationships, you have a lot of stress in the day. You'll tend to overreact when you feel at ease and comfortable at the end of the day. But in an intimate relationship, if you're having sex, it goes beyond just what Freud called displacement. The feelings I'm not looking at today or last week are going to go on to my partner. Or maybe, you're feeling, you're working really hard, so you're going to be more irritable. It's something in present time that's throwing you out of balance. Once you're in an intimate relationship, what happens when you have sex? Okay, immediately that triggers it. Now, what happens is when you're feeling safe and loving, issues from your unconscious mind will come up. See, the stuff of the day or the week or the month, that's more subconscious stuff. Recently, things happening, you're overreacting because it's a bad day. Hey, I'm having a tough day. I'm trying to work on my taxes. It's irritable. You're talking to me. Don't talk to me. It's something like that. That's all just common stuff. But when you have sex with somebody triggers you, 90% of it is about your childhood that you don't have any clue of. Ask anybody on the street who's never done therapy, and you say, that's your stuff from childhood. Oh, I had a perfect childhood. My childhood was fine. I'm good with my childhood. I'm fine. Good. That's great. You're good with your childhood. Fine. But you haven't looked at the deeper issues. And I'm not implying everybody should right now. I'm just implying this to what's going to happen with fasting is this deep stuff comes up. Well, if you're the higher frequency person, look at what your partner is good at and realize, and that you can appreciate and realize how bad you are at appreciating all of who they are. You see, appreciation is the gift of love, as you can appreciate what your partner provides. And a lot of times women today have a big problem with this because they don't realize why they need men. You have a dog now. Most people in my town have dogs to protect them. All these single women, busy, stressed out, unable to have orgasms. All this stuff is, they're on their male energy. They have too much testosterone, or they're doing activities that produce testosterone. They really don't have too much testosterone, more than the average woman, but it's not like close to a man's testosterone, but she's doing things that produce testosterone as opposed to producing estrogen. Anything that makes you feel safe, comfortable, at ease, relaxed, supported. And that's why, again, being part of a group when you're cleansing is going, particularly for women, is going to produce all those wonderful hormones that will make it easy for you. You got to feel like that's one of our lower needs, but it's still higher than survival and security, is belonging. You belong to a group that give a certain level of accomplishment. Another need you fulfill is achievement, which is the growth of personal power. That means your willpower becomes stronger over time. Not only does cleansing in a group help you with your willpower, but having gone through it, you are now a stronger person. Now, what does it mean to be a stronger person? It means it's easy for me to say, I'm not going to eat for a week and not eat. That's easy. Yeah. I just did it. Okay. Just like I can control my body. That's such a wonderful thing. I'm the master of my body, and not that I deprive it, but I say, I'm going to do good things for you because you're like a monkey sometimes. Put a tub of ice cream in front of you, you'll keep going.
John, I love what you're saying because, I've always told my kids any issues that they go through, any challenge, right? I can't wait till see what God brings out of this challenge, the enlightenment, the growth, whatever it is. And what you're saying about just in your relationship with maybe your spouse, a trigger is actually bringing something out of you that you're supposed to work on, or fasting, all that stuff's coming up. Yes. And I talk about during my group coaching, especially during the liver cleanse part, that your liver is where you have your anger and your frustration stored. So you're going to relive a lot of negative or old stuff during that cleansing process. And then all of a sudden it's out and you feel so much better. We're going to take a short commercial break, but when we come back, I want you to explain how so here we are and we're being triggered by our spouse, but how do we then get what we want out of the relationship as a man or woman? So we're going to take a short commercial break and we'll be right back with Dr. John Gray. Welcome back to Accelerated Health Radio and TV. I'm your host, Sara Banta, the owner of Accelerated Health Products. And today we have Dr. John Gray back. John, so here we are. We're triggered. We're now realizing that it's our stuff we've got to work on in the relationship. But how do we get our spouse to do what we want? Whether you're a man or a woman, or how do we work through the trouble or the argument? What are some key things that we need to take ownership for? Because we can't control the other person, right? We can't make them do anything. All we can control is ourselves. So what do we do?
Stop trying to get your partner to change. But here's my whole message is everybody can get more in their relationships, wanting more. See, in the past, people didn't have the consciousness to figure this stuff out. So the solution in spirituality was give up wanting more, because you are happier if you give up wanting more. But the nature of life is to want more. Desire, passion, that's what people want. And that's desire. Desire is our blessing. Look, in Buddhism, Christianity, everything's give up desire, give up desire. Should not want, just want God, just want heaven, suffer today. It's all about giving up wanting, because as the Greeks said, desiring more is Pandora's box. Pandora's box. Once you want more, you open up a box. It says all your demons come out. See, that's the same thing we're talking about. As soon as you want more, it's because you feel, I deserve more. That's called self-esteem. I deserve more. I'm a wonderful human being. Look at all the good things I do. Why don't I get more? So you start wanting more and you don't get it. Then you have negative emotions come up. You have to learn how to process negative emotions. Your question is, how do you get them to do more? You learn, and we haven't covered this, and you can read my book, which is How to Get More, How to Get Everything You Want. Okay. And want what you have. You see, you've got to want what you have, then you can get more. So you first have to come back to love, feeling happy and fulfilled. Then you ask for more. You don't complain. You see, complaining is how you not get more. Anytime you ask for more from a place of I'm not happy with what I'm getting, you'll get less. You only get more when you're happy with what you got. It's kind of like my kids want more toys. Unless you're happy with what you got, why should I give you more? Basically. And it wasn't always that rough. Basically, if our kids wanted more, we gave them more, but you have to get rid of something. You have to get rid of something.
Right.
You have to create space for it. But when it comes to relationships and life, whatever you're grumbling about, you're just going to get more of it, because everything is happening to you to help you grow. And if you push away all that help, you get more help. You get more. Wake you up. Wake up. You suffer so much, you finally realize, I got to let go of this. I got to figure out what's going on. And that's what Buddha said. Life is suffering. It's actually not life is suffering. It's the first awakening of enlightenment is to realize that you're suffering. Once you realize you're suffering, the second one was to realize who's causing your suffering. Your thoughts, your attitudes, your approach, your behaviors is causing your suffering. Trying to change the outer world to make you happier is going to cause you to suffer more. Change yourself to be happy. To be happy is all you can do, really, but you have to learn how to do that. Then ask for more. Then ask. If you want more, you got to ASK. If you want more, you got to ASK. You got to know how to ASK. You know when to ASK, how much to ask for, and is what you're asking for reasonable? And have you already earned it? There's all kinds of levels of how to ask for more. We don't know anything about how to ask for more. We live in a world of monkey consciousness, which demands, raise your voice, get upset, judge, criticize, pump yourself up, judge your partner. Anytime you stop loving your partner as they are today, you're not happy within yourself. Once you're happy within yourself, clean out. Then you find that saying, oh, honey, by the way, would you do this? Or I really like if you do that. You know, sometimes you do this and it's perfect, but sometimes you forget, and I really like it like this. But there's a pressure in a relationship where women are depending on men to change, or men are depending on women to change. It's different. You know the pressure you feel as women when a man looks at you like you shouldn't be upset. Why are you complaining so much? It's a pressure for you to change, and it just makes you feel more justified in what you think. This is that's a more deeper level of what my simple teaching in Men Are From Mars is. Women just want to talk. They don't need you to fix them. And then the next level of that is they don't need you to tell them they shouldn't be upset. You shouldn't tell them they shouldn't feel. She just needs to talk it out. If she can talk it out and feel feel heard and understood and validated, then suddenly all that negativity goes away. Well, if you actually can accept a man just as he is and appreciate what he does provide, he wants to give you more if you ask. He don't want to give you more if you don't. That's why it's not intuitive. This is a paradoxical concept. This is all advanced. You have to have an intelligent brain to figure my stuff out. This is like my stuff, you know, it wasn't taught in religions in the past. They said, give up desire. Where did you read in any religion that everybody follows? Not everybody, people follow. And I love religions. They all have this foundation stuff. You know, what is it that Jesus taught? If you suffer on the earth, you believe in me, you'll suffer, but you'll go to heaven. Absolutely. You've got to suffer. If you want to go higher frequency, you got to go lower. It's going to come up. You want to cleanse your body. You want to live a mortal body. You want radiant light body, all this good stuff people talk about. 132 years is good enough for me. But you want all that, you got to pay for it. It's not that easy. You got to work hard at this and also get the support so it's easier. You got to develop your willpower. You got to develop your strength. People say, John, how do you become so successful? I have power. It's willpower. And willpower doesn't mean I work harder at things. It means it works easier. It's effortless because I'm going to go do this. I'll do that, as opposed to procrastination and all these thoughts coming up and everything getting in the way. Do it. And then even when you do it, it's always going to be some level of difficulty, every challenge, particularly on your male side. It's like I go to the gym now. Since of COVID, I go to the gym, right? Or having a trainer come to my house. Anyway, so in 1 year, I've gone from double the weights that I could press with my legs and my arms and everything, doubled everything. I'm more strong now. I'm twice as strong as I've ever been in my life. Why? Because I went to the gym and had a coach. I could never have done that on my own. No way I could do it on my own. I needed a coach who's already done it. I get the benefit of their willpower by being in resonance with them. That's why you can't have anything better than be part of a group, having Sara lead you in a fast. What a gift. She's got the power. You don't have to spend 10 years developing. Get it on the weekend and follow through, and your power will grow. That's how it works. So back to your question. It's this, I give an example because ideas, you need a story to put it into place. So Bonnie used to complain, John, you always leave the lights out. You forget to turn the light out. Because I walked through the house. My house is so big, it's like walking across a whole football field to go from my bedroom to get water in the kitchen, come all the way back. It's the whole length of a football field. So I go through hallways and rooms and light switches and all this stuff. So I will forget. This is who I am. I did it for 10 years, forgetting. And she'd be so frustrated because now she's overreacting. In the beginning, it was not a big deal. He does it occasionally, but not a big deal. But when he keeps doing it and she keeps complaining about it, he doesn't change. In her mind, when that light is still on, she goes, if he doesn't turn out the light, and it's a little thing to remember, isn't it a little thing to do? If he doesn't do that for me, what if I have a big need? Okay, if he doesn't do that little thing, it means he doesn't love me. I mean, it doesn't mean that at all. That's a lie. Any big thing I do for her, she live a life of luxury and do all this stuff for her. But the little stuff, what's the big deal? So she turns that lack of little thing into that must mean he doesn't love me. And then she feels, oh, I don't feel loved. She's just lying to herself. This is what we do all the time. Maybe I give a talk and somebody doesn't like my talk. Well, I was a younger guy, I didn't have the self-esteem I have now. There's always people who don't like what I say. I get that. I can't please everybody. Nobody wants to hear the truth, or some people don't want to hear the truth. And maybe I don't say it exactly right for somebody. That's okay with me too. But I give a talk. My first talk, I remember as a young TM teacher, Transcendental Meditation. I taught this lecture and I gave my first talk and people, they liked it. I did a good job. But two people come up and ask stupid questions implying it was a bad lecture. And didn't satisfy them. They were dissatisfied with what I said, objective to my ideas. So when I go home that night, who do I think about? The 28 people that thought it was a wonderful talk or the two people that didn't? Low self-esteem clings to the negativity, Somebody does something, says something, we cling to it. That's our problem. You see, we're holding on to it. And why was I holding on to it? Because some deep part of me was feeling like I'm not good enough. And those two people were saying it. 28 people are saying you're good enough. 2 people saying not. Well, why do they have power over me? Because a part of me already thinks it and I don't want to believe it. And I shouldn't believe it, but it's what I think because it comes from the unconscious. See, that's called your liver cleansing. That's why you need to do your liver cleanse. It's deep stuff. It's not going to ever come out unless you follow the procedure. You want to get those things out of your liver, you got to follow the liver cleanse procedure. Other people figured out this thing. Brilliant. Well, I figured out how you get this stuff out of your unconscious. And not that I'm the only one. A lot of good therapies can help with that. Usually they're not the mainstream therapies, don't know anything about this. Ruin your life with a lot of mainstream counselors, that's for sure. So anyway, but with the unconscious, it comes from about the first 7 years of your life, which you can't remember. You can't remember. I can't remember yesterday in detail. How can I remember my first 7 years of life? But actually, when you're a child and first 7 years, your brain is producing primarily the frequency of theta. That's the way the brain develops. It absorbs. Theta is dream state. Theta is hypnotic state. It's the state where you're of suggesting whatever you see or hear is you're holding it as true. And these are fixed beliefs that you have your whole life until you learn how to change them. And one of the beliefs we get is we're not good enough. And then we try to prove that we are good enough, but deep inside, in a hidden part of us, but it's not enough. Should be better, should be better, should be better. And what's interesting here is I always want to be better, but not from the place of I'm not good enough. I'm great. I'm fantastic. I've proven to myself. I'm validated. I'm done. And I still want to be better. So that's evidence. You don't have to say you're not good enough in order to motivate somebody to be better. You actually say, I love you just the way you are. Just the way you are. You're lovable. You don't have to change anything. And I love you. I'm so lucky to be with you. I'm so grateful because you've given me this and this and this. You haven't given me this, that's for sure. But you've given me this. And that's called trade-off. Nothing is perfect. Life is a trade-off. For example, one trade-off, if you want to be super healthy, you got to detox. That's a trade-off. That's not fun to do. Right. That's hard to do. You don't get to enjoy all this delicious food while you got to deprive yourself. But it's a trade-off. You want the good result here, you got to do something here. I want to live in California. I can't live in New York. I can't, if I want to pay, I could be in Florida, but there's hurricanes. So I'm in California. I pay 20% tax on everything I make. I'm in Florida, California. Although I'm thinking of leaving, this place is going crazy. I'll tell you, this is
you and me both, John.
What's that?
I said you and me both. We're both stuck in California, and the weather's beautiful, but there's some other things. Gosh.
Okay, so back to, you got to know when you're upset, you're triggered. This is stuff that you don't even know why you're upset, and your brain has to figure out it's my partner's fault. So if you learn this process, and I teach it in my books, when you're upset, journal your feelings. I'm angry, I'm sad, I'm afraid, I'm scared. Once you get down to those deeper feelings and hold in the back of your mind, what does this remind me of? And it goes back to another time in your life and another time in your life. Eventually, you will start to wake up the feelings of when you were a child and you got negative messages. Now, some people can do that more quickly than others. So that right away, right in present time, you see yourself overreacting your partner and you realize, not only do you realize just from a belief system that says I'm triggered, it's other stuff, from your experience so many times in the past, you've been able to see that I'm upset with you, but really I was upset about what happened when I was a child. I'm still working on that. I'm still learning to forgive myself. I'm still dealing with these different traumas in my life. And it can only be 2. It could be 15. For me, it was like 15. And then suddenly I realized my whole childhood was traumatic, even though it looked really great. Being a human being is a difficult thing. Life is tough. Life is a hard thing to do. And if you think it's all just superficial, you don't feel the depth of what your soul wants. We are surrounded by ignorance and hatred and cruelty and deception and lies all around us, partial truth. And we're waking up to that. That's why all these woke people are saying how terrible other people are, how terrible our past was, because they're measuring the past by this new sensitivity they have, which, by the way, is hyperactive sensitivity. It's like they all need safe zones. And where does this come from? Just as I got to say this one little thing, it's taken me a while to get clear on it, because I know the problem all comes from the breakdown. They started with the breakdown of men and women, trying to pull them apart by saying that, we're the same, when actually we're different. You can't respect differences if you start from the premise that we're all just the same. So when you break down that whole divide between men and women, the interdependence of men and women, what happens is now as a woman, you become masculine. When you're a woman, you become masculine. What are you doing? You're rejecting your own female side. So you're rejecting, you can't hear the voice of your female side. You're over on your male side. And for men, when they're rejecting their masculine, they can't hear the voice of their masculine side, the voice of reason. Okay, so they can't hear that. The female can't hear the voice of love within their female side. So what you get is these are two opposite forces, complementary forces coming together, always opposing. The whole universe, everything is two forces of expansion and contraction, and that creates matter. So you have expansion and you have contract. If you had just expansion, it all blows up. If you had all contraction, it goes into a black hole. So you have a balance of those. That's the male and female energies, and it's within all of us. And it's through relationship that I'm able to experience the feminine part of me through my partner from the masculine viewpoint. So I'm understanding her. I'm penetrating into her. She's allowing the masculine to penetrate her. Through him, she's able to love and appreciate the masculinity as opposed to become so masculine and try to love herself that way, and she never will. It'll never be good enough because it's her female side she's rejecting. So what we're doing and polarizing means that I've rejected a part of me. So what's happening in the terms of the left and the right can't hear the left can't hear the right. There's a massive polarization of these two forces because the Republicans are more the contractive, the Democrats are more the expansive, and they've just gotten out of control now. That's the whole woke craziness, insanity. Too much of either side is insanity and crazy. We need to find the balance, and we can't. It won't happen out there. It only happens within ourselves, and it only happens to men and women loving each other, children growing up with mothers and fathers that love each other. We had the breakdown of the family unit, and they're doing everything they can, the force of evil on this planet, to break that down. And we're seeing the results of it. But as they say in the Bible, you will see them by the fruits of their actions. You just see all these ideas are nuts. And they're producing division and segregation and violence and poverty and control. We've seen it. We've seen it before. America is the shining light of the potential of democracy, where people have this right to be free. We're trying to take away our freedoms right now. And here's the most interesting thing. They're not only going to take away freedoms, but people are asking for it. That's the mastery of the devil. Yeah. It is being able to get people to ask for it. Oh, we need more control. Those non-vaccinated people, they should be punished. They should be be deprived of life force. Oh my God. Nothing about cleanse your body. How about be healthy? How about strengthen your immune system? How about get sunshine? How about get exercise? Or guess what, folks? If you're not healthy, there's a terrible virus that we created for you, and you're going to die from it. But you can protect yourself very easily. As a matter of fact, even though people aren't that healthy, 99.1% of the population will be free from it. This is such a minor thing that they're blowing up. Oh, such a big deal. And yes, it's a big deal when somebody dies, but let's also realize that there were answers all along, which is cleansing and fasting is the natural way. So I've never needed any of this stuff, never taken a drug, don't do any of that stuff. I'm not sick of this. Well, I had COVID, by the way. I was in Wuhan when it spread. I go to China a lot. I came back, had it. It was like a bad flu. Basically, that was it. Done. I just
you and me both, John, and I can't believe we're out of time because I really want to get into, and we'll have to have you on again and talk about your meditation and your fasting experience from last week, which is amazing. But we have literally 1 minute, so I want to make sure people can find you. Can you tell them your website and where to find you in your books?
Okay, so I talked a lot in this book about processing feelings. What you feel you can heal is my first book on this, simple. And then more advanced is how to get what you want what you have. So that's the more advanced. Go to marsvenus.com. Check out the academy. For all the women, there's a women's only course on how to get more from your partner by learning how to get your me time and then learning how to ask for help in the ways that work. And I didn't give you examples of that. I apologize. But there's so many easy ways to do this once you learn, but you have to have role models. We've never had role models who know how to do it. Join the group, cleanse your body, enlighten your mind, and then new knowledge will come to you. And that's why Sara keeps inviting me on.
Yes, we are so aligned, and I'm so grateful for you, John. And I know everyone else is too. Thanks again for coming. And thank you, everybody else, for joining us today. If you have any questions for me, you can email me or just leave a comment below. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram under Accelerated Health Products, and my YouTube channel, and all of the podcast platforms. There are over 100 podcast platforms that you can find this episode and all my episodes, including iHeartRadio, iTunes, Stitcher, Pandora, and over 100 more. So subscribe and also leave a comment and like and share so that we can share John's message and my message as we both are trying to enlighten the world. Join us every week at 1 p.m. Pacific time on Tuesdays, and you can always use coupon W4HC20 for 20% off site-wide at acceleratedhealthproducts.com. Have a great week, and thanks, John.
Thank you.